evening, and welcome to our City Council meeting for November 25th, 2024. It's wonderful seeing everyone here tonight. Mr. Van Zandt, can I ask you to lead the invocation?
Let's pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you tonight on Thanksgiving week, truly thankful for our freedoms, Lord. Thank you for our families. Thank you for our friends. Thank you for the blessings of living in America, Lord. And as we go back to this very American holiday, let us all reflect and be grateful. Lord, tonight I ask that you would be with the City Council and staff as we present options and items, Lord. And I pray that everybody will have clarity of thought, great wisdom and discernment, Lord, and that everything done and said here tonight would lift up and glorify you. Lord, we pray for our soldiers and our first responders that are all over the place tonight. Will be all over the place and away from their families on Thanksgiving Day and through the holidays, Lord. And we pray that you just put a huge wall of protection around them and restore them to their families when their duty's over. All these things we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Kessler, would you give us the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Silva, can you give us a roll call?
Mayor Nina Rodenrock.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Christine Thompson.
Here.
Councilman Tony Brown. Here. Councilman Elston Kessler.
Here.
Councilman Dan Lewandowski.
Here.
All present, Madam Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you. Tonight we have a very special presentation to make, and I would like to ask Miss Barbara Sullivan to come up front.
Are we going to?
Sure, you guys can come up front. I haven't heard stories. See?
All true.
Ms. Sullivan, today we're going to gather to honor a truly remarkable woman, Mrs. Barbara Sullivan. Your dedication to our city is unparalleled, and your impact is felt in every corner of the Keystone Heights community.
Oh, thank you.
From your teaching our youth to volunteering your free time, you have constantly or consistently gone above and beyond to make our community a better place. You were a Clay County school teacher at Keystone Heights Junior Senior High from 1970 to 2004, with an additional 3 years in other places. You have been a faithful member of the community church in our city, providing clothes, school supplies to those in need. You have also worked with the Answers Resource Center, formerly located in our city, to help guide young people in the critical moments of life. You've also volunteered time in the Lake Area Ministries, providing food to the hungry and to the less fortunate. The key to the city is a symbol of our deepest gratitude for your tireless efforts. It is a token of our sincere appreciation for your vision, your leadership, and unwavering commitment to the city of Keystone Heights. As we present you with this key, Mrs. Sullivan, please know that it is a symbol of our profound respect and admiration for your contributions to the city of Keystone Heights.
Thank you.
You are truly an inspiration to all of us.
Oh, thank you so much.
So it's a little coin, and it's a really beautiful little key here. And these are not given out very often, guys. So this is truly very, very special.
I'm so thankful and grateful. I appreciate it.
Leaders like you in our community are extremely precious, and we're so lucky.
I'm
have
blessed to
you.
be here.
So here you go.
Okay, thank you so much.
So we're going to try to get a picture, I think, of us with you. Oh, okay. And let's see if we can get her to hold it up. There you go. Okay.
Am I getting?
Get in the.
Stand right in front of you.
Oh, okay. Where do we need to be, Steph, so you can see us? What? Yeah. I'm pretty sure lost.
I know.
How do you want us to be?
You guys are just fine right there. Let me make some adjustments. Construction in progress, sorry. All right, and let me get our camera. You guys look beautiful. Actually, I'm the short one in this group apparently. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do a couple and a little closer. You guys look fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Missed it, didn't I? She looks, guess what? See, I'm going to this. I took this right off the website.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that before we
Still
get
going
started.
though.
I'll let them clear out first.
That was awesome.
Thanks, ladies, for being here.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic night.
Yeah. It's good. One thing that I have failed to notice on our agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So moving right along, we have a consent agenda, which is very full of information. Basically, for the audience, unless you were able to see it, it includes three for the last month, essentially, and some of it's into September, but 3 council meetings.
That's a church group.
Man, I want to go where they're going.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, wow.
I'll admit they're all my friends.
So the consent agenda includes 3 council meetings, 3 heritage meetings, Heritage Commission meetings, 2 Heritage Commission workshops, and 4 council workshops, and also several applications to use the pavilion. Have you all been able to look at these items? Okay. Are there any comments?
I've got a lot of yellow in mine because I went through all the financials for the past several months.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's several financial reports as well.
Yes, so I'm going to probably wait and do that in the office because I do have some questions. And then if I need to bring it back up next meeting, I'll
Okay.
Maybe we should ask to hold consent of the 8 financial reports,
yeah,
but approve everything else.
Okay,
that's a good idea.
good idea.
Is that your motion?
Move that we approve the consent agenda as written with the exception of the 8 financial reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, moving right along, we have action items. The first one is for the city marker location. Ms. Deidre Murphy? Oh, let's swing that microphone. Sorry.
Good evening. Thank you all. Deirdre Murphy, co-chair of the Heritage Commission. I know that we discussed this all last month, but apparently the Keystone Heights historical marker was not on the agenda in the correct place under an action item, and therefore you were not able to vote on it. To just recap, I noticed that Keystone Heights, the city itself, did not have a historical marker. That's those big black metal markers that you see on every town throughout Florida. And so the Heritage Commission decided to take that up and complete the application. We went through the application process. We have worked with the Clay County Preservation Board and Vichy Gary and everyone at the county level. Got all of the marker verbiage in place, and I believe I gave that to Charlie, Mr. Van Zant, along with the application to be signed by Mayor Brodenroth. And the marker information, the documentation, the GPS coordinates that Speedy and I worked on. We also have to take photographs. We're waiting on the signature page. That would be from the City Council of Keystone, because the city owns the property where the actual marker would be placed. The application has to be signed off by the council. And we cannot put in for the marker in Tallahassee without all of the pieces. So everything has to be completed prior to us going and getting onto the Florida Master Site File to go through the rest of the process. So once we have that signed, then I can complete the process so that we can get the marker hopefully installed prior to, within 2025. They do have a backlog. Keep in mind, this is for the entire state. The backlog right now is about 6 months. So I am hoping that if we can get this moved forward in January, that by the end of the year, during our centennial, we'll also be able to celebrate putting our marker in place.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Where were we gonna put it?
Speedy and I went out and we looked at different locations, and we thought one of the pieces in putting the marker in place is that it needs to be in somewhere that there is parking for safety issues. So if someone's driving by, sees the sign, wants to get out and read it, they need to have a place to park. So it seemed that a good location would be right at the beach entrance where it used to say, "Welcome to Keystone Heights," and remember when we had that traffic accident, they kind of took out that whole thing. And so since it was never put back, that might be a really good spot for it. There is parking obviously there, and it would be seen by anyone coming into town in both directions. And also it would be seen by anyone coming to use the beach, use any of the facilities at the Historic Pavilion, and for like the League of Cities dinners and things like that, everyone would see it.
Is it right by the trees, under the trees?
Well, we actually do have to put a very specific spot. We did do GPS coordinates, but we actually have to take a photo where specifically it will go. And it would be somewhere around there. We don't quite have that ironed out yet, but Speedy and I can go back out there and get an exact spot, and then kind of mark an X, and someone needs to stand there where it would be and take the photo in that. Okay.
Kind of like when we did the park across the street.
Exactly.
Same kind of thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I just need your approval to do a historic marker for the city.
I'll make that motion.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
So how long did that, from beginning to end, that process take? The focused effort to process that whole request? Up to now?
Months.
I know you spent a ton of time. So many
it's not
different
over.
agencies to go through.
There's
Because
a
we
lot
have
of
someone else
steps.
asking a similar question, so interesting. About a different request.
Right.
So, okay.
You can fast track some of these things. I do have the person in place in Tallahassee that's really working with me on this. So we're going to try and fast track this so that we do have it installed in 2025.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
The spot we picked is, because you walked across, walk from here, it's just, everything is, that was my first choice, and it's the same thing for her.
That's good.
So it's a good spot.
Yeah. Okay. Looks like,
Meeting time change. Meeting time change, second one, B.
I'm under
Heritage.
action items. Okay, I'm sorry, it's underneath that marker. Okay, so the next thing up on the agenda is the Heritage Commission meeting time change. Ms. Arnold? Oh, okay.
The reason that the Heritage Commission would like to propose a time change for our meetings is that we are currently at only 4 members of the Heritage Commission. And it's very difficult to find people that want to be involved when the time to meet is in the middle of the morning, and most people don't have the flexibility in their schedule if they're working to be able to attend. And while we do need someone that is interested in historic preservation, interested in the history of Keystone, or has some interest at any level about the community and how to protect what we have in our history and move that, be it the student program that we've put into place now. This would be our 3rd year, where we're teaching the students in 4th grade about the history of Keystone, to tours of homes, to various different programs that we have at the Heritage Commission. And so we do need someone that would be actively involved. And it's just easier if we were to have it in the evening. I did look back from when the Heritage Commission was originally proposed, and the meetings at that time were at 6 p.m. And so I'm thinking we're really just going back to what we originally had the Heritage Commission meetings at. And that, I think, would open up the ability for more people to apply.
Ms. Murphy, may I just clarify that's every 3rd Tuesday you want it from 10 to 6 p.m.?
From 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
On the same day of the week?
On the
day of
same,
the
on the
month.
same day, same, you know,
Same of the month, yeah.
same.
Third Tuesday of the month.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
You guys have any comments?
Well, the only impact I'm thinking about is the staff, the city staff.
I'm okay to attend the meetings once a month on Tuesday. That's just fine. Don't y'all worry about me. I'll be here.
Are you the only staff member that attends?
I'm the only one that has to attend, so yes.
Okay.
I mean, unless for some reason I can't work the cameras, but Bo's teaching me.
Okay. I agree with the 6 o'clock because to get more people involved.
We do have a lot on our agenda for 2025, and as you know, the Heritage Commission has been very active. And so that has a lot to do with Mayor Rodenroth. She kind of kicked that whole thing into gear, and we're just following that. So we do need more members, and we need more participation.
I move that we approve the request by the Heritage Commission to change their meeting date time.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks so much.
So the next
They want
thing
you to
is,
stay there.
yeah, come on back, Ms. Deidre, is member renewal. Sorry.
Well, no, she's got the application because it's her renewal. She's being renewed.
Oh,
Oh,
is that what that is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what,
Do
we
you
have to
wanna be
approve that?
renewed?
I didn't know we had to do that.
I would like to be renewed.
I move that we renew Deidre Murphy as a Heritage
my
Commission
goodness.
member.
Yes, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Is there anything I'm supposed to do, like
Nope.
change the dates
You're
on the?
good.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Thank you, Miss Evans.
Oh, my goodness.
You won't be renewed.
Next up is our Public Works pickup truck. Mr. Wright?
Good evening again. So our Public Works has requested an additional pickup truck for the fleet that we have in Keystone. Currently, we have a newer Dodge truck that we run right now, and we have an aging F-250 as well that has been having some issues here of late. So we're requesting, Public Works is requesting a newer F-150 pickup truck for Public Works. And you have the proposal in front of you, and that is a government contract. Same company we bought the current Dodge Ram that we have right now.
I move that we approve the choice of the 2023 Ford F-150 as proposed.
I'll second that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
My question is, we've only got this one, and so with this kind of amount of $44,225, was there any two other quotes out there?
So essentially, the government, because it's on a government contract, it wasn't required to have 3 quotes. So if you look there at the very bottom where it says concession, they all only have a standard markup on it, which is 2%, I believe. So essentially, we get the same price from, you got MSRP, and then you've got their standard 2% markup.
And, okay, I'm gonna ask some questions, okay? It's a 23, we're in 24. 25s are already coming out.
There are no 24s on government contract right now.
Okay.
I've looked through three different contracts, state contracts, and there are no 24s available. And this one was at a bit of a discount because it was a 23.
Okay, so, is this replacing a truck?
So this essentially, again, we've got the Dodge that Kenny typically uses on the day-to-day basis. We've got the aging F-250, the crew cab, we've had it in and out of Revere fairly often lately. So this would be essentially a third truck in placement of that F-250.
Okay. I don't want to sound ugly, but that truck only has less than 30,000 miles on it. And I have a problem spending this kind of money for a truck that we could probably get fixed for $3,000. I mean, I'm talking, I drive a Tahoe that just turned over 300,000. My work van's got over 400,000. I'm not one to go out and buy new vehicles. And for what distance we're doing, I can't justify spending $44,225.46 for a truck when we don't. The truck we have, I think, serves a purpose, and that it doesn't go out on the street. I mean, to other cities and stuff. Now the Dodge does.
Now, I will tell you the F-250, when we go to TPO meetings, we have to have a vehicle to get to those meetings in Jacksonville. It's usually something Garrett and I will attend. There are some meetings out of town that we will use, another pickup truck for.
Well, I have heartburn spending that kind of money for a truck I just feel like I would take, if you're going out of town, you switch trucks. You take the Dodge,
Yeah.
the guy with the Dodge takes the Ford, and we keep it in town.
Okay.
I just have a problem spending that kind of money for something that's less than 30,000 miles. I know the age, but in the past, we have run vehicles into the ground before we ever got rid of them. So I just have that's my heartburn.
So would you support a third vehicle but at a much reduced cost?
as long as we don't get rid of the board, I mean, I
Right,
just
I
don't
said a
see.
third one, adding a third one, but.
But if you're gonna get a truck, trucks are not cheap.
No.
I mean, obviously.
I did price out some GMC, some Chevy, and this was the best deal that I found. So, I mean, again, I'm just fact finding and giving you guys what's out there, and it's up to you guys, I guess, at this point, so.
I have a question, Bo. What's wrong with the Ram? Is it, and that's the one that you said Tony has 30,000?
Ford,
The Ford
Ford
has
has
30,000 miles on it?
It's,
less
it's,
than 30.
it's somewhere in there, it's got some issue, and it's aging, but essentially, it's been unreliable to this point, we're trying to get
So
some
you've been doing a lot of
answers to it, so.
repairs on it, which is kind of adding up and
Yes.
unpredictable.
It is.
That's
And
a
at the same
challenge.
time, we've got, with our public works guys, just trying in a sense to be more efficient, trying to keep 3 guys out of a truck. Coming from my field, efficiency was always, key to me when you got 2 guys going back to the shop because they don't have another vehicle, or 3 guys going back to the shop because you don't have another vehicle. In a sense to be efficient, that's kind of where this is coming from, so.
Well, if
Yeah.
we were to purchase another vehicle, how long is it gonna take to surplus the Ford?
I don't know. Essentially, until it doesn't
Are y'all
become cost
looking at
effective.
surplusing it?
I am not looking at surplusing it. And is this coming out of the ARPA funding?
This is ARPA funding.
So you've got money that there was no plan for when I showed up that was almost $400,000. Trucks wear out. You have typically 6 public works guys. One of the part-time guys moved to Colorado, as you guys know, early November. So you have 3 guys piled up in a truck to go to Ace Hardware and buy whatever they're buying or do whatever. If you were going to buy a vehicle anytime, this is the time to buy it, and that's the money to expend. I've had talks with our county managers, assistant manager for finance, and his right-hand person. They spent their ARPA money a couple of years ago and stopped having to report it. So this enhances, if the F-250 becomes non-economically repairable, we take it somewhere and it's $5,000 or $6,000 and it's valued at $20-something thousand, and we don't deem it's worth it, we can surplus it at that time. But I'm looking at this as just a greater efficiency for the public works people we do have, and a very good sound expenditure of the ARPA money that you need to expend. And Mr. Wright, I sign a mileage thing for him every month or so from using his own personal vehicle, running around managing the projects, which that's only going to increase with all the projects that we've got to do. So, I mean, that's why we brought it. You tell us not to buy a truck, we won't buy a truck. But it's already been competitively bid, and that's why it's at that price without other quotes.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
So if we buy another truck, then you won't be using your personal truck?
Yes, ma'am.
We're not talking about getting rid of anything, we're only gonna add to
Add
the
to
fleet.
it.
And in my mind, especially if a truck goes down for some reason, and vehicle problems happen when you least expect it. I mean, if you got 3 trucks, at least you still have 2 when one's in the shop. So I think if Tony's problem is, Councilman Brown's problem is the high cost, that I'd still want to go forward with purchasing a 3rd vehicle, but maybe not as expensive. Because I think it's a good thing for us to have 3 vehicles. What would you think about that, Councilman Brown?
I agree with
Well-
that. The only problem I have is, my fear is a conversation that we've had, or I've had several months ago, is we're gonna surplus this truck and give it to the airport. So I wanna know tonight.
No,
Okay,
no, the
that's what
airport
you
bought a
told
new
me.
truck.
That's what you told
I
me.
was entertaining that motion,
Okay.
or that idea, and that's why it never moved forward. The airport got tired of using one of the airport members' personal 4-wheel drive and actually didn't want the two-wheel drive pickup. Their needs, I mean, literally, they get tractors and trucks and stuff stuck and need a four-wheel drive of their own. So they went forward and purchased their own truck. So I'm sorry, Mr. Brown, I didn't understand that's where you were going with it, because I don't think Mr. Wright and I have had discussions on surplusing it. If the airport needed a truck, we would have given them the 8 or 9 year old F-250, not the newer one, because we're country boys and we know when we need a four-wheel drive and when we don't. We did look at some pricing on like some Ford Rangers and what's the Colorado, the smaller
Yeah.
Chevrolet. It's about $4,000 or $5,000 difference, but it just limits what you can pull with it.
You need a full size, if you're gonna get one, you need a full size.
The smaller truck would have been ineffective for our public
Right.
works.
So we just bought the Gator. So what is that gonna be used for? I mean, if we're gonna have 3 trucks and a Gator.
So essentially, the Gator is for trash removal, for doing things closer to things that are in town. And the truck would essentially be used for, if we got to pull a trailer, or, again, having those, getting our public works guys from one point quicker, from one point to the other. So,
What do you think, Councilman Brown?
I just have heartburn with $44,000.
It's a lot of money, I agree.
I know
but-
that it's not, I mean, I know the money is there, not
Can I
per
say
se
something?
from city taxpayers, it's from the federal government. So,
Can I say something?
Yep.
2015, we bought a truck that a company I was working for was $48,000, so 44 for a 23 is even better. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but used with 100,000 miles, they want $35,000 for them. So,
So I will say from our side, we can go look for a used truck, but it's gonna be hard to get 3 bids on it if I don't have a government contract on it. I've got to get 3 bids on almost essentially the same truck. If we're looking for something cheaper, it's gonna be even further back than a 23, so. that's
what kind of
gonna be-
specs does this thing have? I know it says, I guess they're doing the light bars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so essentially I had them outfit it to where it would be road ready for our public works guys.
And this is strictly ARPA money.
It is, yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I get a definition of what ARPA stands for, please? That's a
American
synonym I'm not
Relief.
familiar with.
Something, it was
Acronym, I mean.
It was a COVID money, same money that they remodeled the pavilion with as a food distribution center.
It
Oh,
was originally called the CARES Act, and then they continued it after 2 years and it became the American
Rescue plan.
okay, thank you.
And there's a time limit on those funds as well, right?
You have to have it encumbered by December 31st this year.
Yep. So we don't use it, we lose it, essentially.
I know it was a shock to me with the price, but then I started thinking about the trucks we bought when I still worked. It's actually not a bad price.
So we have a motion on the table, right?
I've got one more question.
Go for
Sorry.
it, go for it.
The pictures you got here, okay, are those vinyl seats or
They are.
cross?
They're vinyl, yes, sir.
And you got the rubber floor?
Yes.
Okay.
You know your truck.
Just like that's what, I got it in my truck.
Yeah. It's gonna be a work truck. you got
That's
it.
right. Would never put carpet in a work truck.
Or vinyl or carpet, whatever.
So which truck would you use if you're traveling to a Jacksonville or whatever?
If it were to be a Jacksonville, probably this one.
Okay,
Yep, and essentially it would be available, that would be available if anybody needed it to go out of town.
okay.
Any more comments?
Call
Can
for a
we get
vote?
Yeah, can we get a vote?
Did we second it?
Yeah, there was a second for the discussion. We had to do the motion, second discussion. So all,
All in favor?
aye?
All right.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Appreciate it. Okay, next is golf course. Mr. Brown.
The first part of the year was brought to the council about the golf course was for sale. And the council, to my understanding, we gave directions to the manager to look into the possibility of that. First of all, I'd like to say I've been against it from day one, and I'm still against it. But I think we need to nip it in the bud. Charlie's done a lot of research and background on it, but we as a council, because it is still on social media that we're buying the golf course. And I think as a council, we need to nip this in the bud. Are we buying a golf course? Or are we not buying a golf course? So my understanding, you've got information about what you've come up with?
What I've got right now, I invited Mr. Keith Cumbus, who's been on a voluntary basis as a longtime Bradford County resident property owner, and has a relationship with a golf course architect that's been helping us look into that. I can have him kind of bring you up to speed on where we are. Council said, you know, if Mr. Brown makes a motion to cease and desist, then we will. If somebody else wants us to continue conversations, then we will. But I would not move farther down the road without a realtor involved, so that we, if we do make an offer, we have somebody that's their profession making an offer. But I'm not proposing that we do or we don't. But every time I look at this thing, there's a lot more people to talk to. So Mr. Brown put this on the agenda in October, and I was hopeful of having a full presentation to share with you by now, but we simply don't. So I have no recommendation one way or the other. It's free to keep talking. If it's controversial on social media, I don't know what to advise you on that. But if you'd like to hear from Mr. Cumbus and hear about the landscape architect, he can brief you on that.
Sure. I think you should, if he was willing to do that for us.
Okay.
Good evening, thank you. Briefly, I'm Keith Compass. I grew up here. It's K through 12. Graduated, left the Air Force, and was gone for a long time. And I live out on Crystal Lake Road. My family connection has a good friend, Bobby Weed Golf Course Design. He's a public figure. You can look him up, do some research on him. One of the first things you'll find is that he's also a very he's a generous man, and has the best way to describe it, a great heart, especially towards children with autism. So he has also apart from his public entity as a golf course architect, golf course designer, he has a nonprofit called HEAL, which is helping families with autistic children with a better life, is an acronym that I'm blanking on right now. The golf course, as we've been working on it, is historic. The Heritage Foundation would be aware of that as also. It's made up to Tallahassee, a very small window in Tallahassee where they track things like historic golf courses. Believe it or not, they actually produce a brochure with range cards and scorecards and golf tees and all those things available for the public as a promotion that the city or the state of Florida has an historic golf course trail. Mm-hmm. Keystone Heights is listed as an honorable mention in that already, but they would like to they're keeping an eye on it, if you will, to see that we don't lose a part of our history. Mm-hmm. It is a 100-year-old course, 1928. We'll see that anniversary, the centennial. Bobby Weed began as a landscape designer, soils and turf expert, so he really understands golf courses from the ground up. He has been influential locally with the Putnam County Palatka City, which is a municipal course. He brought that back to life. His name appears on the wall. It's doing well. He helped redesign the Bostic course over University of Florida. Further afield, he just built Grove 23 for Michael Jordan. He's also international. He just came back from Dubai on a golf course design there. So to say that he's interested and willing to work with us is a compliment to the city. So far, we've kept this very, I'll say, informal. We've met several times. We've certainly got nothing with the signatures on them. So informal is absolutely the way to say it. We've not made any commitments. We've reached to from our last meeting, we've actually reached the end of his generosity. He has a team. He's done some preliminary designs. He's done perspectives to see where we are. If we buy it for X, if we invest X more into it, what will it get us in 3 years? How will the city recoup those finances? So we have a fiduciary responsibility, and we're aware of that. That said, we can't go any further at this point, just pro bono. But he has been willing to work with us at this point. It's worth saving. It's worth saving. Again, folks in Tallahassee are keeping an eye. It's a very small office. I'm not trying to say the governor knows who we are, that he cares that our golf course is in jeopardy. Again, it's up to the community if they want to retain a golf course for the students at the high school, for the city, for potential development. Right now, truthfully, we don't have a motivated seller. You see land for sale signs, not golf course for sale signs. Additionally, you need to have an appraisal of a golf course, not an appraisal of just the land that it sits on or tax value. All those things are paramount before it can go any further. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you know, has this been brought up in Bradford County? Because that's where the golf course exists.
We've met on some of the meetings. We've had a Bradford County representative of land management.
The county manager.
County manager was it?
Okay, and what does Bradford County say?
They want it to say golf course. That's their current opinion. But
Okay, so why aren't they moving forward?
Yeah.
Why are people coming to us?
just because it had the city of Keystone Heights name on it, I think is why, and its proximity to the city.
Does that mean Bradford County does not want to buy it? Or does that mean Bradford County wants us to buy it? Or do you know?
I can't speak on behalf of, I know in a casual conversation, the Bradford County folks would love for us to buy it. But are they unwilling or unable? I don't know that.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing with us your information.
So in your analysis and looking at the information that your consultant gave you, you said that it appeared to be worth saving.
Yes,
Is what
ma'am.
you were saying, and I think it's for sale for around $1 million is what was pitched to us by the owner. And I don't know if that's what we would buy it for, but, you know, I guess I have done some research on munis, as they call them in the United States, muni golf courses. And as you mentioned about your connection with Tallahassee, at the national level, they are having tours of these munis throughout the country. It has become kind of a hot thing to do, to visit these historic golf courses, partly because they're not expensive to visit, they are public, and a lot of these guys go and hit those specific historic courses. And so it's kind of a thing, and so the trend on these courses has grown in interest, just with those particular customers, right? And I also understand the value of what it can bring to the community. I lived on a golf course for a number of years, and the different resources it could give us in addition to things that we would probably want, especially with the lakes are coming back, and just having something else for visitors to do, not to mention the people who enjoy playing golf. I mean, I don't play golf right now, I used to, but I'm sure there's a lot of folks here that would probably enjoy playing golf, or used to enjoy it. So, I mean, for me personally, it would have to be something that makes sense because we have to be financially neutral in the acquisition of it. We don't want to do something that would be a bad business decision for us down the road. But the fact that we could have the opportunity to protect and save a historic property that was part of Mr. John Lawrence's vision from day one with the city here, I feel like we have to take a look at what the reality of that is, what are the findings with the information that you're talking about, and really take a serious look at it. And if the numbers and all don't add up, then they don't add up. But, you know, and we got to see too, the citizens. Do they want it? Because it's tricky, with it being the people who would vote on that would be the people who live in the city who do not live on the golf course. I think many of the golf course people that I've spoke to would probably love for us to have it because they don't want to see the golf course go away. They don't want to see houses and all in their backyard that they paid for golf course property. So I respect that too, but again, it's in Bradford, and maybe it's something we do a joint thing with Bradford County, I don't know. I think there's just a lot of things, but I think just to shut the door on it because it's not something I care about. This is not about us. This is about the community and what does the community want. But it has to make financial sense. That's just my position on it.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I have spoke to people on the golf course, and no, they don't want houses built on it. But I've talked to people inside the city limits. They don't want to have the responsibility of it. And what I put this on tonight is, we as a council need to figure out what we're doing.
Right.
I personally, I'm not voting for something that's going to put 1,500 people in our city limits in jeopardy down the road. The golf course hasn't worked for the last 2 or 3 owners. So, I just can't see, I don't care if it's $500,000. I can't see us being a part of buying it. Yes, it's a history of it. I've played on it when I was younger. But you got the original 9 holes, I believe, is what's left.
Yeah.
And at one time, I can tell you that place was packed with people playing golf. But it hasn't happened like that in several years.
What is the reason for that, Tony? Do you
Well,
know?
I hate to say it, but a lot of the guys that used to play are not here no more.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And it's not that they moved, so,
I got it.
but it would be, when I took the oath of office, every time I've been sworn in, I'm here to protect the purses and the safety of this city. And I feel like the purse would be opened up and dumped out if we were to be a part of this. It is in Bradford County.
Yeah.
I don't want to be ugly, but it's not our response. Yes, Keystone Heights. This gentleman right here, when he was first on the council, asked me a question about, the fire department. We had the fire department, it's Keystone. He thought that it was part of the city of Keystone. No, there's a lot of businesses around here that have Keystone. We don't have jurisdiction or whatever. We don't own those. We never owned the golf course. It's outside the city limits quite a bit, and it's in Bradford County. And I, as a council person and as a taxpayer, do not want to be tied to buying a golf course that hasn't worked in many years. I just don't think the city of Keystone, if somebody comes in and wants to buy it, good. In my understanding, there are people looking at it, but I just don't see the city of Keystone taking on something of that multitude.
The closest thing I could offer is Palatka to see, you could look at what their books were. When it was a municipal owned course, they were hemorrhaging about $200,000 to $300,000 a year. They renovated it. Are they breaking even now, hence not losing money, so they're happy? Or are they actually making money as a fiduciary responsibility, as Councilman Brown mentioned, you owe it to the city of
Yes.
the people that put the money in your bank accounts, there's the residents here. So I get that. I don't have a dog in this hunt. I got stuck in the middle.
Yep.
I happen to have a family friend that said, you live in Keystone, tell me about your golf course.
I talked to the mayor there. They are breaking even, and they are in the top 50 for the United States on that course.
But isn't
Thing
that
that the
course
historic
in
courses-
Palatka?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
Palatka.
It's not in Putnam County.
It's in the Palatka city limits,
Yep.
and that's,
It's, yeah.
and it's
So-
owned by the city and has
So
been.
that they don't have that
It's-
barrier.
It's owned by the city. Mhm. Yeah, I
Well-
mean, we have definite challenges for sure.
The West End Golf Course closed in December 2019 after 50 years. That's in Gainesville. The Meadowbrook Golf Course, they had some issues when Hurricane Elsa came through and destroyed a lot of their stuff. They never opened back up. And the Gainesville Country Club, it shut down for maintenance, but was never reopened. It was sold at auction.
St. Augustine had the same problem. St. Augustine Historic Course is gone. And that's one of the reasons that Mr. Weed wanted to save ours, because he felt we were just losing that history.
Well, we have the ravines too in Clay County.
Yes,
Gone.
that's shut down.
Bradford County is, the Historic Course is, they're trying to reestablish it. So we are, surprisingly, we're in a bit of a golf desert here in north central Florida as compared to so many other places within the state. But the perspectives that we've driven up at the moment, we're looking at maybe 7,000 rounds being played currently. We believe we can legitimately get that number to 20,000 rounds. Now, what does that do if you put dollars and cents per round of golf played? Just trying to price it within mind of our local residents, people, not trying to gouge anybody. How much you can make off 20,000 rounds of golf and how much it costs you to get there. Those are the questions.
How many people go out and play golf anymore also? And this is just something that we've bandied around a couple times on council. We've never made a decision on buying the golf course. I mean, we had a bunch of citizens come in and say, we want to keep it, we want the city to buy it because we don't want houses built on a green space. I get that, I totally get that. But if we don't have the people that are playing golf anymore, why even bother?
Well, and I
For
think
a
the way.
9-course
Right. Well, so,
golf course
to me,
as
the way
well.
I look at it is.
or 9-hole.
You know, it's kind of it's a very multifaceted situation. It's in another county, number one. But it is historic. We have the lakes coming back, and we'd have to have a town hall. We'd have to ask the public, what do you want? Talk to them about all the barriers and the challenges, and that includes the city residents and the golf course residents, because both of them are going to have different needs. It would probably have to go to referendum, believe it or not, to vote. I would think so.
We went far, Councilman Thompson, to ask the folks at the RV park to survey their 2,000 members or residents to say, what would you do? And we're waiting on those numbers back just so we have that exact information. Is it worthwhile? How do we get to 20,000 plus rounds of golf played? Because that seems to be the number we've stumbled upon to make this work. Mr. Weed is optimistic. And I'm just,
So what kind of response did you get from the RV park?
we're still waiting. We met
Okay.
with their, Vincent is their manager, one of their owners.
That'd be interesting.
Just be careful, because the RV park weren't citizens of the city.
Exactly. We're
No,
just
you're right.
asking.
That's very true,
just
they won't
for-
be paying for it. Well,
They're in Bradford County.
You're right, but they'd be paying.
that's our biggest obstacle. Doesn't everybody agree that it's in Bradford County?
Yeah,
If-
that's the biggest obstacle.
So later on in the agenda, we've got a city planner for you to approve, hopefully, so that we can begin working on the project that Mr. Wiggins has brought forth, of what's called Duck Row. I forget what it's called now.
Sunrise Estates.
Sunrise Estates, thank you. So all those things have yet to be done. I had a brief conversation with her. The golf course could actually be annexed into the city, the property around it. You guys asked the people when they came from the various homes around the golf course, what skin are you willing to put in the game? There are cities in Florida that sit in 2 different counties, and I would request a brain scan if we didn't already have an airport that's in 2 counties and a cemetery that's in 2 counties. So it's not unheard of, but nobody's proposing.
But we didn't have to
tonight we
pay
buy
for
the
those.
golf course.
We did not, those were given to us.
Yes, sir.
We're looking at $1 million. He said right there and said $1 million. So,
Yeah, I'm not proposing that you buy it. We can shoot it and leave it where it lays, or we can continue to explore everybody that would need to be a part of it. And so I'm just waiting tonight to see how the council acts. If you want me to keep moving on it, I would see this as a public partnership between the city of Keystone, Bradford County, Clay County, our Clay County School golf team, which is 5 kids, just won the public school state championship. I mean, so maybe we can draw the school board in.
I was
Everybody's
thinking
got
that
more
same thing.
capital expenditure funds
I was thinking
than
that.
we do. And I'm not trying to get you tarred and feathered by your citizens for spending money over here, over there, but there's a whole lot that would have to come together before I could look at you and propose that you do that. And it's simply complicated and time consuming, and, just tell me to keep pursuing it or stop. I'm really okay either way.
Well, I honestly thought, since I prolonged it to November, that you were gonna have some figures and everything for us tonight. But I personally, if we're gonna look at hiring a planner, I don't think that planner should be doing work in Bradford County at Keystone taxpayers' expense. I'm sorry. I mean, guess I'm an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to this stuff. But I personally think that this council tonight needs to make a decision whether we're gonna do it and go forth and let the manager do his thing in the way of looking at it. And I just know that I've had several citizens told me we were crazy if we go and spend that kind of money in another county. So, yeah, there's ways that we can get around. We can annex, we can do this, we can do that. But how much time and how much money is going to be spent doing that? So, whether it goes anywhere or not, is this an action item?
Yes.
I make a motion that we drop the golf course.
Any comments?
I need a second.
Second?
No, I said we need a second.
Okay.
A second.
Any more discussion?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Nay.
All opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
Nay.
3-2.
Okay.
Can I, shoot, I should have done this during discussion. Tony, I very much agree with your position, but I want to add 2 things. One is, the people who live there pay a special tax, I don't know what exactly it is, to help provide money for the golf course. It's part of their bill to Bradford County. And also, property taxes are elevated because their property values are elevated because the golf course exists. So there is a financial path that, in my mind, we would have to have access to if we ever consider this. And if Bradford County is not willing to let us have that income, then this is dead. I'm totally with you, Tony. Okay? The second thing that I would like to suggest, and this is not on the level of the lakes, but back in, 2016, 2017, we had the water summit here?
Yep, 16.
2016, okay. We had all the players. I won't go through who they were, but this room was packed with all the major players. We need to do that for the golf course. And it's not a big a deal as the lakes were, but we need the school district, we need Bradford County, we need Clay County, we need our state representatives for the area, we need our state senator for the area, we need a summit, and we need to talk about all possible methods through Tallahassee, through Bradford County, through property taxes, maybe there's a way to do this as a team, maybe we get a golf course solo organizations, get some of the citizens to create a nonprofit to save the golf course. We need to have something like that, because otherwise, I agree with Tony, we have no place doing this. But if we put all the people in the room together, maybe we can find a solution together.
Well, and I've said this for several months. I'm gone in April. This will be continually going and going and going. So I won't have a chance to vote no on it, but I can guarantee I'll be out there.
Talking to council members.
Yep.
My whole point, they just so much work behind it already just to stop it. I think is kind of ridiculous. But right now, I could not vote for what they want for the money because it's not worth it.
No.
And there's a lot of things, but the only reason I would be against it to just stop it right now is for the work that was put into it. That's my,
Well, the work I thought was put into it was gonna be delivered tonight, and it hasn't. So
Yeah.
it's kind of in a dead.
I'm wondering where that money went.
I mean, that's what I waited on.
No money's gone anywhere. This has all been,
What work then? Just the footwork?
well,
yeah, all the time and
Phone calls.
his work.
Okay.
There, we've had several meetings, and we have done work, we've done a lot of just looking at GIS surveys, who owns what other barriers are in place, just put together perspectives, just to look at, get a copy of soil analysis, those sort of things, to make sure we're not, make sure it's even legal. There's concern, it's been a golf course for 100 years, how much chemicals have been used on it? There has been a soil analysis done. Only one though, and not the one up by the fuel pumps. There are many issues, and that's where we came to a stopping point at. There's a lot of issues, and at this point, without someone willing to pay all the players involved, and by that I mean Bobby Weed Design and his team, for their schematics and they brought forth some rough sketch drawings where it could be, but again, you don't show your hand, as it were, especially if you're not getting anything in return. So.
Now, as far as social media, they still talk about a roundabout on 121.
Yeah.
So that's
We
what
can't
I
pay
wouldn't
attention
even
to
worry
all
about.
that.
Yeah.
If they don't want to talk to me, I ain't gonna read it on social media.
Well, there's two other things to consider here. One is a low ball offer, 300,000. Or another thing is to set a line in the sand, say by February. We're gonna make a decision by February, one way or the other. Everybody come talk to us, and this is gonna be on the council agenda in February, and we're gonna vote it up or vote it down, and that's it. And then we're not gonna waste any more time on it.
I mean, the question is, February's only 2 months away, really. Is that enough time to have these meetings with these individual? I know you gave us this nice little schematic at the last meeting.
Yeah,
Has all
I-
these people.
I
That's a very
can't
short
tell you
window.
how long this takes. I would be just absolutely estimating or spitballing, probably closer to spitballing than estimating, because believe it or not, I've never bought a golf course before. And there is a whole lot of people, homeowners associations, I understand there's 3 out there. I've heard from 2 of the homeowners association presidents. You got the citizens that live in here, you got the possibility of annexation. I don't think much moves within 60 days in government. Last July, I think we brought, or August, we brought you the first RFP on the China Chef, and then we didn't move forward because it only had 2 bids, and so here it is late November, and we just got that done for you. And that's not complicated.
Maybe you just wait till May, and I won't be here, so you can, put somebody on here that'll vote for it. So, I don't mean to be a horse's butt, but that's, if you go to vote on it in February, I'm still gonna be against it. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not gonna waver, because I just don't think our taxpayers deserve to be put up against the corner for something that we do not have in our city. So, I'm gonna shut up now.
You have a lot of great points, you really do. I'm
There's
just
a
trying to
whole
think
lot
of a way to make it happen.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with looking at a timeline that we can say we're going to cut bait. We take the information we have, we try to put the best decision to that with the resources, like you have given us a lot of great information. Try to talk to more citizens, try to get input from the city and from the people in the golf course, certainly Bradford County, what their role might be in this. Have a couple of workshops to try to iron out the details, no different than strategic planning, like each part of it, and decide, is this something we want to go after or not? And if it's not adding up to be too expensive, not doable, whatever, then we cut bait and we move on.
Okay. So I have found a lot of steps that need to be taken through the process. I'm not saying I've found every step, but would it be fair if I brought you a timeline back in January and the pieces of information we're looking for? And, that might be a 90-day timeline, might be a 6-month timeline. And again, you can tell me any time you want to stop, and I will stop. You just need to have a meeting and vote to tell me to stop, and I'll be fine. I would have been fine if you told me to stop tonight. Plain
Well, I
do.
know it eats a lot of your time up and the people that you work with, but I think we're doing injustice to our community by just saying, no, I don't think we need to do that. We don't need to look at it. This is my opinion. I don't think we need it. It's not my opinion. It's not my need. It's something that the public has to tell us.
Yep.
And the only way to do that is to get a cohesive group of people together to give us input. And to look at the numbers and to look at the facts like you just shared, and the historic value of it. I'm sure the Heritage Commission has a fair amount to think about that. We don't have that much of that to retain, but it has to be looked at. And I think once we look at that, and if it doesn't add up, then we say, okay, it doesn't add up, we're not going to move forward, it's not the right decision for us. And if it is, then we go the other direction. But we have to look at the facts.
And I like to clarify something. I have an opinion, because I'm a taxpayer,
Yes.
I am
And
too.
I've had people-
I am too, Tony.
and you pay more taxes than I do because
Yep.
of where you live. So, but my thing is, I've had more people in this town tell me that we were crazy for thinking about it, and why would we think about it and put taxpayers in jeopardy of that thing failing? It has not been a successful golf course in years. Yes, it's historical. I love the historical part of Keystone, but that golf course is not within the city limits, and I can't justify, whether it's my opinion or what, Mayor, but I cannot justify spending a dime even researching the thing because it's not in our city limits. And if he can make a phone call and say, okay, Mayor, or county commissioners in Bradford County, are y'all willing to step up? So, and my understanding from people in the golf course that they have gone to the county commissioners and they don't want it. So,
Are they in Bradford? The
Yes.
people that live on the golf course,
Yes.
do they live in Bradford County?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay.
and
So
I,
they
and
were
I,
all the
and I
people that came in
understand,
here
if
one
I
night.
paid $300,000 or $400,000 for a home,
Yeah.
I don't want apartments or
Right,
little houses behind my house. And I understand where they're coming from.
Sure.
But it's not our
responsibility.
responsibility
That's right.
to bail it out. And that's mainly what it is. I just, and yes,
And then it would fall under our
Mm-hmm.
shoulders to
Yep.
keep it up, and our taxes could go up.
there's plenty of people out there that's got
We
plenty of
don't know
money,
all
let
of
them
that
buy it.
until everything has been
I
looked
understand
at.
that.
So-
I perfectly understand
So to
that.
me, I mean,
I'm just thinking out loud like Tony is.
and I'm thinking out loud too, but I'm just saying, I think we have to take a hard look at it in all fairness. And then I'm not saying we spend money on all these consultants, I'm just saying with the resources you've already looked at, the information that we have, we talk to the public, we have a town hall, something where people can give us input, including the citizens over there, including the citizens here.
I don't represent the citizens in Bradford County.
That's fine, I don't either.
I don't either.
But it's part of our history. It has to be looked at. We can't just, that's my opinion.
Okay.
And we're all different, so.
Could I ask the city clerk to put this on the March agenda? And unless things change, I will change my vote then. I'll go with you, Tony.
You're not changing your vote tonight, but in March.
No, I want to give it a couple more months.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Right, no.
I'm the same way until, we get the, information if they're gonna step up or not.
Yeah,
I'm not- we're
Bradford
not
County
gonna buy the whole
doesn't,
thing
right.
ourselves. There's-
Bradford County doesn't step up and do what they should do. Forget it.
Okay? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Now, can we move on now?
We can. Next is city website. Mr. Brown.
I'm gonna pass on that one because I didn't get anything off on that, but I do have, on the letter G, I do have questions.
What,
The Agenda Plus,
okay, then go ahead to the next one.
okay?
Agenda Plus.
my questions are, I know we had a full docket of stuff here, but I don't recall, and that doesn't mean it didn't happen, but did we ever discuss this Agenda Plus in a council meeting?
We did.
Did we vote on going forth on doing it, or, because I'm just, all of a sudden, this meeting, we've got Agenda Plus. And fortunately, I got it all printed, but it's just, that's a big change for the city. And not just us, but people. We didn't have any kind of, I won't say class, but I guess it is something, a workshop or something on how to work this thing. And because it is a big difference. And I did ask the manager how much this cost, and at this time, it doesn't cost us anything.
So I used Agenda Plus extensively with the Clay County School Board. A lot of school districts and county commissions use it. If you look at the CRA agenda tonight, we actually only had 2 items, but it's very well defined. And we can do a training class for council or whatever you guys want to do with it. But you have an item, a recommendation. How much does it cost? What's the description? Who's running it? Is it a project that the project manager's running? Is it an event that Ms. Bell's running? So there's more information to vote on when you got here. So if I'm not saying that you guys have to learn the back end of it. It is not hard. Our school board members never did. They would still say, hey, put so-and-so on the agenda, and I would start asking them questions and helping them flesh out their ideas, which we can certainly do with the city council. Or if you guys want to log on to Agenda Plus and put your own stuff in electronically, you can do that too. There's that capability. But my motivation for doing it is it creates much greater transparency with the public, because if somebody was figuring out if they wanted to come to the city council meeting tonight and talk about city website, there was only 2 words on their city website. They didn't have any background to know what are they talking about. Do I need to, stop watching whatever they watch on Monday evening and come on down? That's where I'm going. In the workshop that was several months ago, I think the first one we had, there was a lot of frustration among citizens with us publishing an agenda late in the week for a Monday meeting, adding stuff on it, voting on things that weren't on the agenda. I'm just trying to provide greater transparency for everybody involved and a way for you guys to articulate your ideas beforehand, so that when you say, can we do this, I can say, yep, because we budgeted this much for a city engineer. If you want to move forward with streetscapes, they've already developed the design, and just ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. The mayor and the vice mayor asked me in a committee meeting down the hill a couple weeks ago why, and this is why, and I think once the clerk and everybody, council is more comfortable, it's just getting over a hump. It's one more new thing. But if you want to know the why, I would look at the CRA agenda. I don't remember a particular vote specifying Agenda Plus, but they didn't have a municipal partner at all, so they were willing to do it. And it's a $2,000 annual reoccurring fee, just like you host a website or have software. We all use Word, Excel, PowerPoint. We pay a licensing fee every so often to do those things and use those things. So that's the deal with Agenda Plus. The cost is $2,000 reoccurring a year.
$2,000 a year, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Are the bugs worked out now? Because at the last employee committee that we had, that we asked about why, there was an awful lot of problems with Agenda Plus. Have they been worked out?
It is an ongoing process, Vice Mayor. Just about every day we find a new bug or a new correction, such as pages being upside down or topics not showing up, which I'm working with Mr. Nanga. I apologize, I cannot pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Nanga. Please forgive me. You know, I email him, I try to work out the bugs, but I mean, every week we're finding a little something new. So don't feel like as a council, if you see something, say something, because it, you know, please, I want it fixed. It's
Did
an
he ever come? Did he
Yes,
come
did
and do
come.
one-on-one?
He did come, but a lot of Agenda Plus, I don't have a team working Agenda. I am Agenda Plus. I'm the one building it all.
Right.
I'm the one, I have to build everything from scratch. I don't have a team working behind me. So, you know, I contact Nenga, kind of tell him what's going on, and he tries to walk me through fixing it. So it's a lot of me doing it, so I'm sorry it's slow going. But I'm working my best to get it up and off the ground and running appropriately, which, you know, if it printed, I do have the sheet that he's talking about where it tells you, you know, as a council member, if you bring something to us, you know, it has what you want to bring, how much it's going to cost, what the idea behind your idea is, because sometimes we'll get, you know, something from you may say lollipop stand. We don't know what you're going to ask us during a meeting. And it enables us to be more prepared for y'all, that portion of it. But getting it set up is, Vice Mayor, it's a bit messy, but it's gonna hopefully have a...
Still a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I say 90 days, but I don't want to box myself in saying in 90 days it's gonna be perfect. I can't guarantee that. It's an ongoing process. But I mean, you do have good examples, and this is what it'll look like. It's just some kinks. Like I said, basic stuff to get worked out.
My main thing was, it was kind of put on us. We didn't have an opportunity
Right.
for the manager to come and tell us, okay, in November, we're doing this. And it kind of just, for me, because I am not a computer person, kind of slapped me in the face. So, and with doing that, I mean, I just felt like we were kind of left out, okay?
I
as a
apologize.
council.
I wasn't trying to leave you out of anything.
Thank you.
I mean, if that's the new, and here again, I go back to, I've been through 5 managers, and everybody's different. And the way you work and do your thing is totally different than the last person and the person before that. So I'm used to having stuff like this brought to the council's attention in a council meeting before we go hot with it. So, and that was my main concern with that, because I did talk to the IT people, and they were kind of confused because they didn't know anything about it either. So, and apparently the two of them have to work together to make things happen. So, but that's why I put it on the agenda, just for discussion.
Ready to move on?
Yep, I'm done.
Okay. Well, to me, I feel like the whole reason to have looked at changing the website is because it wasn't very intuitive. It wasn't easy to follow, difficult finding information. I had several citizens come to me trying to find minutes from meetings, documents that were attached. The agenda packet was not very easy to pull documents out separately versus downloading the entire 100-page document. Whereas this is supposed to help us to go specific to one item and save that separate item separately from the whole packet. So it gives us more flexibility with the way the platform is. And it's all this learning curve, and I'm going through the same challenges as well. But I know I've been through a variety of informatics changes in my career, and anytime you switch anything new in informatics, it's a nightmare. And it takes a while to iron out the kinks, and we just have to be patient. Now, a few months down the road, if we're still having these kind of problems, then we may have another problem. You know, maybe it's not going to work for us, I don't know. But I feel like I like the look of the website now. I think it's very sleek looking. It's very simple. It's easy to find different things if you're looking, whatever it's for. And you know, everything from our events that are posted, the meetings that are coming up, I think it's easier to look at than what we had before. And I hope that our public does appreciate some of that effort there. But that's kind of, I mean, I understand the headaches, because, you know, it's frustrating, I know, but hopefully we'll get past that. Next, of course, is Vice Mayor Thompson.
Me.
Yeah.
I've got something upbeat to talk about. I would like to propose that the city host an open mic on Wednesdays at the Keystone Beach.
Just karaoke or?
No, well, open mic would be either. It would be music. It would be music and singing if somebody wants, unless it's you, Dan, and then No, I'm playing.
No.
But no, I think that this city could use a unifier, and I think having an open mic at the Keystone City.
Almost like karaoke kind of thing, kind of, sort of.
No, I mean, right currently at the Howlin' Wolf, which is a local bar, they have open mic Thursdays. And I so enjoy going to listen to live music. It brings back wonderful childhood memories, and a lot of people love doing that, and I think Keystone could use a boost. And I think a lot of people, especially on a Wednesday night, when there's nothing else to do in Keystone, and you could walk down to the Keystone Beach.
Yeah. Yeah, church is big on church.
Okay, all right. Okay, this could be after church. Okay. I mean, it could be a certain amount of hours in the evening. It wouldn't disrupt the neighborhood with loud music or anything. But I'm thinking, we have a lot of great local musicians in this
We do have a lot
area.
of talent locally.
We have so many good people that live locally that would love to be part of this. I've talked to a few of my musician friends, and they are happy to do it. It's just the logistical part that I don't know about. But I think that Keystone, back in the day, a long time ago, we used to have dances at the Keystone Pavilion. And I used to go when I was a kid. I went with my sister, Leslie. We always used to go to the dances. And it was a big deal in this town. We had live music. People came from all over to attend that dance. And I think it was 50 cents to get in or something like that. But I don't know all the logistical parts of it, but I think from what I've talked to some of the people around here and talked about this to the citizens, they would love this to happen in Keystone. Give them something to do after church.
Vice Mayor, I apologize for asking, but you said similar to the Howling Wolf, so does that mean your idea is to have a full band set up for the players to be interchangeable like at the Howling Wolf?
Well, it's called open mic. They come and there's a certain amount of people that are there already. And they come in, they sit in, and they all sing and play together.
Okay.
So they bring their own.
They bring their own instruments.
So they would just go to because the park's open, so they could just go set it up
Right,
themselves, but we just
right,
kind of
just
support
like-
it.
yes,
Like a promotional
yes.
kind of.
And I was thinking maybe get a couple food trucks to offset the electric, for the city. And this is something on a Wednesday night, and we don't usually, church, yes, I understand church on Wednesday nights. However, I think that there are plenty of people around here that would love to do something and walk down to the beach, especially during the winter months.
Why not a Saturday night?
Saturday, all the musicians usually have gigs.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why I chose Wednesday nights. Saturday, on the weekends, they usually have other gigs to do, and they get paid for it, so.
Take one, pass it down.
Could I ask a question?
Sure,
Would you be okay coming in and sitting down with Ms. Bell one
Sure.
day? And let's just kind of walk through what this looks like, what we
Yes.
need to do, how it gets staffed? And
yes,
she just passed you down everything that we're proposing or that you've asked for this next year. I don't want to be the wet blanket on live music and all that good stuff. I won an award one time for singing karaoke very long ago. But it was in a place I shouldn't have been in, and I don't think sobriety was amongst the
They couldn't
judges.
understand what you were saying anyhow.
I was sober, I don't think the guys judging were. So, if we could bring back kind of a little bit more of a plan on that in
Sure.
January, after we get the
I'd
vice
be happy
mayor
to.
downloaded.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. That's a good idea, I think. Next is planning services with Ms. Janice Fleet. Charlie?
So you have one item in your backup, which is her continuing just a simple one-page contract. She has an hourly rate of $125. She's a licensed professional civil engineer, and she has the capacity to actually help us with city planning, walking Mr. Wiggins' Sunrise project through to get it ready to go in front of planning and zoning. That's why I brought that before you tonight. So far, we have not used her, but with your blessing, we would like to start using her and getting down the road with that housing development.
Do we need a motion? All right, I'll make that motion. We have her come on board as their planning services.
I second.
Can we discuss now?
Yes.
So there's two things I would like to know about this consultant. First is a CV, a resume. What's her experience? What has she done before? I'd like to know more about her.
She's the planner for Green Cove Springs,
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
she does consulting in the
So
area.
she's retired?
She moved to consulting, so like she's also, I work in Penny Farms, she's the planner for Penny Farms.
Okay, and that leads to my second question is what's her knowledge of Keystone Heights? As far as I'm concerned, Baker Engineering was a nightmare. They just did not know our community at all. And the last city planner we had, Susan, I think was her
Yes,
name?
that was a long time ago.
Susan Frazier, she wanted us to implement Orange Park policies. I worked with her on the Growth Management Committee. She didn't know our town.
If I may, Mr. Councilman Lewandowski, I've had a few conversations with Ms. Fleet. She's very familiar with the city of Keystone Heights. She's already spoken to Mr. Wiggins. She picked up the original PUD agreement and has done research to see what that original agreement with Duckborough was, has had further conversations with Wiggins to try to suss that out. Bo and I both met with her, went over the original plans, voiced the concerns, especially about environmental impacts, things like that. I know there needs to be more soil studies done by Mr. Wiggins. Ms. Fleet was a big help in getting the septic to sewer done, or implementing the septic to sewer within Penny Farms and retired Penny Farms. She has, there's a huge list. She did send me a resume. So she's very, very well read and very, very, she's a wealth of information.
So that makes me feel better. I kind of wish that had been part of this packet.
I apologize. I could have put more in there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, no.
Vote. Vote.
Yeah, go for a vote.
Didn't we have a second?
We have
We did have a
Yeah, we
second.
have a
I
second.
second, so we
Okay.
vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, next is city clerk job description. Over the last couple of months, our employee committee met twice and reviewed the city clerk's job description. That description was actually created a year ago when we were recruiting for that position. And we had all approved that description last year in November or September, whenever it was, as it was stated. But since getting into the role, there was a couple of areas within the job description that were not relevant to the current role. So we did remove those pieces out of there. They were partly like for the election coverage, which is, we understand, covered by Clay County staff and volunteers. And then also supervising staff, which is also not part of the role. Just a couple of items that we removed, and we all agreed on the final description. In addition to that, I located a performance evaluation template that was actually used with one of the Atlantic Beach clerks, which actually I think Mr. Commando actually oversaw that same performance evaluation. And I like the simplicity of it and all. I felt like it was very informative for the employee and also for us, and easy for us to follow with our process. So I did put together that performance evaluation based on the based on the job description, and gave us different parameters to grade that individual on. And the beauty of it is we would each take that performance evaluation and go ahead and evaluate that person. And then those evals are gathered, and we can make comments also, which is really nice for input. And then they are all gathered and then averaged, and then sit down with Ms. Silva and review that once the results are back. The goal would be to do that review before March 30th, and in other words, us to conduct the process of the review and have it completed by the end of March next year. So that's what those two documents are. So can I get a motion to approve those two documents?
I'll move to approve those two documents.
Any comments?
One at a time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, no, second.
Oh, second, I'm
I was
sorry.
getting ready to, but I thought somebody seconded it.
I thought somebody did, I'm sorry. Okay, we have a second from?
Yes.
Okay, now all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. I appreciate it. We did also look at our city manager's job description. It's not on here, but I'll just add this in. Our committee reviewed that, and it pretty much will stay intact as it is. And then I will work on creating the performance evaluation in the same formatting as the clerk, but it will match his job description. And the goal is to also have his review done no later than April 30th. Hopefully March, if it works out with us approving the documents as we move forward. Next is Resolution 2024-07, review fees, and Ms. Silva, Ms. Clerk.
It's okay.
It's getting late.
It's okay. And had I been wiser, I would have asked Ms. Fleet to be here tonight, but it's a good thing I didn't because she's driving. So this is a resolution that updates our fees. So if you, like our site plan reviews, variances, none of that really changed. She said that we were fairly compatible with like Green Cove, Clay County, all the other municipalities. What you will notice that is new, item number 5, or section 5, applications subject to payment of development review fees. So say Mr. Wiggins, this is a huge project for us. What this is asking is that Mr. Wiggins would submit a $1,000 holding fee, meaning that every time that Miss Janice Fleet helps me, he's reimbursing that $125 an hour that she costs us. So it's a way to protect us, the city. So if not saying Mr. Wiggins would ever do this, but if he started something, say now he's $400 or $500 in, if we didn't have that $1,000 holding fee and he quit, we, the city, would be footing that bill. This prevents us from doing that. That is the major thing, and it also allows us to have something called pre-application meetings where that $1,000, I'm going to call it a retainer fee, would be discussed.
That's a smart move.
I move that we approve, or do we have to read this first?
Just by title.
Just by title. So I move that we read by title only, Resolution 2024-07.
Second.
Resolution 2024-7, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, relating to development review fees, establishing a schedule of review deposits, establishing a list of applications subject to the payment of development review fees, including review costs, providing for conflicts, providing for severability clause, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Do we do anything before we motion? Let's just
Do
review.
we do public comments on this one?
It's a resolution. Your public comment in the beginning of the meeting covers this,
Apologies.
Can we just vote?
Yeah.
unless you have other discussion.
Do you have more discussion?
No.
Yep. Okay. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-07.
A second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Vice Mayor Thompson, Azalea Park.
I was unable to attend the Parks Plan workshop that we had, but I watched from home. And I would like to propose that we make Azalea Park, which is the one right in the middle of Keystone, the park, we make it into a dog park. that we have a dog park existing over behind Hitchcock's. Sunrise, what is it, Sunrise?
Sunrise Park.
Sunrise Park.
Sunrise Park. But I don't know how often that park gets used by people going out there. Why would they go out there? It's kind of a desolate place out there. But I think that if we made Azalea Park a dog park, I think we'd have so many people using it. I would, myself would use it now that I have a dog, just to tell everybody I got a new dog. But I see people, I live right here on Lakeview, I see people walking their dogs up and down Lakeview all day, every day. And I'm thinking, if we had a dog park, again, another unifier, community unifier. They could walk down, you know, what a great place for a dog park, right in the middle of town, where people locally who walk their dogs up and down the street could go and sit and talk to their neighbor and meet their neighbors. I think that that would be an awesome place for a dog park. Way more used than the dog park out on Sunrise. I'm just throwing that out there. That was just an idea I had. I think it's probably a better use of that property. Because right now, I don't see anybody using it for much. I know I used to walk down there, but
I would say I agree with the people that walk in town with their pooches and everything. So, and I think we brought that up. Rich, you might remember, we brought that up, doing that in a project.
well, I mean, but when it never.
Well, it was during the time we brought up about a new city hall and everybody went
Yes,
up in
yes.
arms. So it all got dropped.
Yeah,
So.
well, I'm bringing it up again.
And I think that would, honestly, I think that's an excellent place for a dog
I
park.
agree.
With the shade
Some
and
of
the
the
trees.
discussion was just the cost. We were talking about fencing and.
Yeah, we definitely would have to
control and
fence it.
stuff like that. Not that that should be a deterrent, just that was part of what was being discussed.
Well, it's
Right.
not that big of a property either. I mean, and it would bring the community together.
So,
Any other comments?
So, yeah, we decided at that workshop, or, you know, we can't really vote on anything, but we said we've got $600,000 worth of parks projects for the next fiscal year. And that is enough. That is almost too much for the city manager to handle in Public Works. And so any other things that we might consider, we wanted to put off because we have so much to do already. And then the second thing I would say is that there's no dog park anywhere in Clay County. We're the only city that has a dog park. There's none anywhere else. And speaking for the non-dog owners, why are you taking away my park and giving it to dogs? I'm just wondering. Now I'm excluded from Azalea Park.
but I will
would never say
argue
that.
that park, I agree with the vice mayor, that park is not used.
Uh-uh.
The only thing that's around, is a circle sidewalk, people walk it. And many, many years ago, and I think it was George Bush, president, the first one, had an initiative about fitness. And that's why we have all that fitness stuff around there that keeps falling apart. And there's sometimes of it, it needs to be repaired or taken out. But that's the only reason people would use that park. And, I mean, we got a nice gazebo, people sit there and everything. But other than that, the middle of the park is not used at all. So. But if I was a resident there, which I am pretty close to it, but I wouldn't, if you went to put lights in there, I would put like low ground lights, because you do have people that live there, and you don't really want to have street lights and everything blooming in your house at night. But
Right.
and it deters people from hanging out in the park at night too.
Right.
So.
Well, you wouldn't want to, you know, it's for,
Just for dogs.
yeah, it's just for dogs and people to get together and know their neighbors and have something in common. They love dogs. I'm just throwing it out there. I just think it's a perfect place for one.
Have a dog and drone park.
Dog in the way.
What'd you say?
Drone.
Homegrown, yeah.
I was trying to
So-
think of what Councilman Lewandowski.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So part of the parks plan that was presented us in January by the consultant, she was proposing Azalea Park to be a dog park. but that was also proposing that Sunrise become the park where a lot of the kids that were in the 12 to 16, 18-year-olds would have the tennis courts, the skate rink, the skate park, batting cages. I mean, it's a assortment of over $2 million worth of stuff at that Sunrise location. And yeah, right now I know it looks desolate there, but there's a 60-home subdivision that's literally going to go there as soon as we get some stuff approved. So they won't be like that forever. We did talk about it at the Parks workshop, and we did look at some things that we thought about more as priorities at that workshop. I think as far as Azalea goes, I live right down the road, and yeah, I see people walking their pets all the time. But what I do think about on that park is, number one, if you do make it a pet place, you're going to have to, first of all, take the fencing down, all that, make it pet safe. So that's going to be a cost element. We'd have to look at what would it cost to make it into a place for animals to be there to be safe, because there's roads all the way around that park. How do the residents who live there feel about it being the pet park? I mean, do they like just seeing it as it is? To me, what I thought minimally we should do with that park is have that equipment removed and make it more attractive with a few more benches and keep it mowed, keep it nice, and keep it as it is. But take that equipment down, because most of it's not really useful, not right now anyway.
And I agree with that.
That equipment
I
looks
do too.
terrible,
I agree with
and it
that.
should be gone. But that was part of our conversation. We did the planning at that workshop. But I think we just have to look at the cost element, and really we ought to talk to some of those neighbors, how they feel about that. Would people use it? I don't know. They don't use the other one. Are they going to use that? I don't know. I'm not taking my dog to a dog park. I don't want my dog around other dogs getting potentially something, you know. So, I mean, I just think it's something to think about. But
That's all I was doing, was bringing it up. I
Okay,
thought
so
it was a great idea.
I put a note on my agenda next to this item to bring you an item in January to authorize us to go ahead and pull all those wood placards. I used to live down the street too, but
yeah, they look
those
terrible.
are not comfortable to exercise on.
No, they're terrible.
Yeah, they're
And
way.
we can certainly pull those out, and if you guys want me to kind of establish on an agenda the recommendation from the three of you that came to the parks plan is to pick up future projects in the August, September timeframe of 2025 as we're building next year's budget out. I can do that, or we can just focus on the things that you're authorizing as we bring them to you.
Okay. Next on the list is approving the city engineer. Charlie?
Yes, ma'am. So we put out on the internet and sent copies of a request for qualifications to every engineering, architectural kind of group that had expressed interest, and then put it in the online site where they all go to look for work. We formed a three-person panel, and the three firms that applied were CMA/Bell Engineering, Infrastructure Consulting Engineering, ICE, and Hanson Engineering. All three met the specifications in the RFQ. I would just note this, the one from ICE, Infrastructure Consulting Engineering, has done a lot of work in this area with small towns, Stark, Hampton, Penny Farms, very familiar with this, and they took 2 or 3 other companies that had expressed interest in putting in on the RFQ and included in their team of people that they would use. So it's a lot of people that already have familiarity with Keystone, the city of Keystone, and what we've done. 2 of those firms have sent representatives here tonight. I can give you a copy of our score sheets if you want them, but my recommendation is to allow us to move into some contract negotiations with all 3, and then we can pick and choose which firm we go with on any given project. It was a non-exclusive RFQ based on what they bring and what kind of project we're contemplating.
My one interest in knowing is what kind of GIS do they have on our city? Do they have the sewer systems? Do they have the water? Do they have the electrical grid? Do they have everything that we have in this city? Can they tell me where all the speed bumps are? What kind of data do they have on our system that they can pull up on a computer? I'd be more interested in that than anything else right now.
Well, I can let either firm speak to that that's represented here. I don't recall that off the top of my head, but they gave me 3 telephone books to read. I read them as quickly as I could and graded them out.
Well, if they're here and they want to talk about it, I'd like to hear.
Go ahead. Sorry for those chairs.
Sorry for those chairs.
Yeah, but we've been there, for what,
feel
since
your
5
pain.
o'clock?
So those chairs.
These aren't so comfortable either.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Got a bad back right now. It's really killing me, sorry. My name is Jerry Dubkowski, Vice President with Infrastructure Consulting and Engineering, otherwise known as ICE. We're a 13-year-old firm. We have about 550 employees. We provide every service that you asked us in the RFQ, including, I have put with me a very strong sewer and water team called Woodard and Current. I put together a geotech team, and to answer your question about GIS, we have a full-service GIS team that is located here in Florida. We have 23 offices around the Southeast, 9 offices here in Florida. I'm the Vice President in charge of Florida. A little background in some of the smaller cities. We are the general consultant for Penny Farms. We're the general consultant for Stark. We're the general consultant for Hampton. We're the general consultant for Brooker. We're general consultant for Gainesville, just in this area right here. So we're very comfortable working in this area. Our strengths are full civil engineering from roads, traffic calming. I've been over your speed humps or bumps, whatever you want to call them. We do a lot of traffic calming. We do complete streets projects. We do sidewalks, ADA ramps. We work a lot with the smaller cities up here in the north. Our office is in Lake City, so we're only 50 miles away, which makes it real convenient. But we really love working with the smaller cities, so I apologize for my voice. My back is just killing me. I actually was your general consultant here at Keystone about 10 years ago, and I also worked with the airport back then. So I'm very familiar with Keystone Heights, utilities, all that takes place. Out at the school area, your lakes, back then the lakes were super dry. So I'm glad your lakes are back. That's really awesome. One of my teammates, would you like to say something about Woodard and Current?
Yeah.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Ryan Watson from Woodard and Current. So Jerry had asked us to partner with him. We're a specialty firm that specializes in water and wastewater engineering. So we cover a full spectrum of stormwater, water, and wastewater projects throughout the state. Same as Jerry's firm, we're very familiar working with a lot of communities throughout the state, especially rural communities. We're the water wastewater engineer for the city of Stark. We're under contract with the city of Fernandina Beach, city of Micanopy, so very familiar with the area and surrounding cities, and very familiar with some of your projects that are upcoming on the water and wastewater side specifically, which is why Jerry asked us to partner with them. So,
Have you worked with the Clay County Utility Authority on anything?
we have not worked with Clay County Utility. I know they'll be involved with your potential projects coming up, and I know that they run water and sewer throughout the community, but we definitely have worked with a lot of large utilities like Clay County Utility. So our firm, same as Jerry's, we have 1,300 members of our firm. We cover a large chunk of the United States, so we're very familiar, very capable on any water, wastewater project.
I can answer the Clay County utilities. For Penny Farms, we are redoing their water lines right now, and we're working closely with Clay County on the permits and what we need to do for them. So I'm very familiar with that. We do water lines, irrigation, parks, trails. We're a full-service firm that's very, very comfortable with Keystone Heights.
Have you ever done any lobbying for projects?
We do not. No,
Okay.
we don't lobby.
Okay.
And what we would offer to you is you now have a development that's coming in that's, as she said, one of the largest you've seen. We don't work for private developers. So if you want us to review anything that's coming into the city, we have planners, we have everything on board. We don't work for private developers, which is really nice for local government. There's no collusion, there's no interest on the outside on our part. So,
No, or where that question comes from is DRMP did a study for us about running water and sewer out to the airport. And a $10 million project is something we can't afford. And so we're trying to figure out, well, how would we figure out how to pay for that? Runs through Bradford County. Bradford County would be the most beneficiary. And so that's something we kind of need help with if we're ever going to make happen.
right. Our firm doesn't do lobbying. Woodard & Kern was with us, they do have that capability. What we are really strong in is getting grants, federal grants, SCOP grants. We have a whole department that just works on just getting funding for you. Some of it is zero payback from you, but there's some really great grants that are out there.
That would be very helpful.
I'll let Ryan share on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was, another reason why Jerry had asked our firm to partner with them on us specifically, is that we do go out and lobby, but specifically we have a fiscal solutions team of about 6 that sits in Tallahassee. And so a lot of what we do is we go after funding for certain projects, and we know that you guys have a big one on the docket with the airport potential project. And so a lot of what our firm can offer service-wise is the pursuit of funding for that project. And not just the pursuit of it, but also the management of the funds as that project is ongoing. So we do specialize more on the funding side for water, wastewater projects specifically, but we do have a full suite of funding fiscal solutions teams throughout the state.
Has your team worked on septic to sewer conversion?
Yes, we have. Yeah, in multiple communities.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of funding available for that too.
Okay.
And I guess in closing, a big part of our company also is construction, engineering, and inspection. So if you need something to be reviewed from a construction standpoint, I have about 130 people here in Florida. That's all we do is inspection of projects, sewers, waters, et cetera. So we are very available and can help you out very quickly. So thank you.
Thank you for being here
Appreciate
tonight.
it. I hope your back's better soon. It's not fun.
Mayor, I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
I was on the council when Jerry's firm at the time was our engineer, and it was a pleasure, working with you and everything. And but I don't recall any issues that we had with your firm or anything like that back then. You're with a different firm now. So, but Jerry's always at our Northeast Florida League of Cities dinners, and so is this gentleman here in the dark sweater is always there. And
No, I'd seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, I just found that out tonight too. Same thing.
yeah,
Okay, I think I've seen him too.
I was like, I knew him from somewhere.
I know.
Yeah.
but anyhow, thank you for coming.
Who's the other company who's here?
Mr. Bell?
Okay.
Thanks, Tony, for your input there.
Hi,
Hi,
good
Mr.
evening.
Bell. Good evening.
Mike Bell,
Yeah.
Bell Engineering and Chinborn Associates. So I'm a local, born and raised here, went to school with Tony. Been a
You're
sibling-
older.
I'm a little older. More hair on top. So we have a house in Keystone Heights, we own property here. We're kind of moving our way back to be full-time residents. So I've been doing civil engineering for 40 years. Larger companies owned much larger company of about 800 people in Florida doing work around the state. So I came back and as the opportunity came up, right now I'm a sole proprietor of Bell Engineering. So it's me and everybody else is 1099 employees. But I have a long-term relationship with Chinborn Associates, who's a larger firm in Florida, who again, long resume, multidiscipline, can do everything on your list. Where we needed a geotechnical engineer, so we added those to the team. We also added we have in-house planning at Chinborn Associates. We also added a firm that does just grant writing, so that we knew there could be a possibility to help the city and help generate more projects for you guys with that opportunity. So Chinmore has an office in Jacksonville, would be the closest. So the proposal represents myself and another woman in Jacksonville with Chinmore that would be co-managing the projects here. So I think me being local, I think it's just more of my commitment to make sure that things are happening, and it's really a give back to the community for me to do that. So I know it's not a large project compared to the types of projects that I've worked on or that Chinmore works on, but I think it's an opportunity to do more for the city and do it in a fashion that's done right and done well. So I think your question about GIS, they have full service GIS out of the Jacksonville office. All of the data that you questioned, it really, GIS data, you probably know, it's public. If it's not public, it's private. So any of the public data, you can reach out and get that. CCUA, I've got that data before when we were working on a project in Keystone Heights, so that stuff is readily available. I'm not sure about Clay Electric, whether they will hand over their data, but it's really getting the files from them, and then you can upload as much as that is available that's public data.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sounds like you have a good plan there, city manager.
Yeah,
I try.
okay. So you're just going to look at the information and...
No, ma'am. We've graded them out. The action before you tonight is to approve us to go into contract negotiations with the three firms, two of which you just heard from, and then based on whether we're doing streetscapes or, what the next project is, road repaving, we'll do a little more conversation with each one of them. Hopefully I can get to a same or similar hourly rate with all of them and pick and choose. I like multiple tools in the box. Sorry guys, I'm not calling you tools, but I don't like to be limited with just one way of work. So I think everybody that we've graded out has responded to the RFQ and can do good work for the city of Keystone.
So are we looking at having 3 different engineering firms and doing the work inside the city compared to what we've done in the past in one engineering firm?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm not saying that all 3 are going to be doing work every year and simultaneously, but just in the spirit of transparency, we put out what we need. They responded. They're all more than capable of performing that work. And as we move into project by project, some of them are going to have more skills to bring to bear on, say, water and sewer than something else. So I just want to have that versatility and create some efficiency.
Is there any possibility that we as a council can get copies of those?
Sure.
Okay. Just, make a copy and put it in my box. Don't send it to me in email.
I don't know how
I
many.
might lose it.
Do we have 3 copies of each?
4 of each.
4 of each. Does anybody not want a paper copy?
No, I like one too.
I don't need a paper copy.
Okay. We'll give you
That's
what
why
we
I have
got.
a
We already
computer.
looked at them.
Well, I have one too, but
We'll take it home
still.
with them tonight.
If I want to print it, I'll print what I want to see.
Okay.
For my fellow council members, when we do finally get to writing our comprehensive plan, I'd like these engineers to be part of that process
Oh, yeah.
in the appropriate areas.
Absolutely. Be valuable input.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
They know so
'Cause
much.
oh, yeah, absolutely. I like the idea of having a diversified group together, just because not everybody can know everything. And I think it brings value to the effort overall. And the
I used
different
to-
projects.
I used to do that all the time on defense contracting. We team with other companies.
I think it's a great idea. So we have to make a motion, right?
If you would move, somebody make a motion to accept the 3 firms as presented.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move to accept Bell Engineering, CMA, ICE, and Hanson as our 3 engineering contractors.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen, too, for your input here.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Okay, next is the 2023-24 budget amendment. Mr. Van Zandt.
So,
Should it have been on both? That may have been a mistake by me.
Yes, you handled that in the first.
Yeah,
meeting.
we actually acted on that
Yeah.
in the 5 o'clock meeting. That-
Okay.
That was the
I
23,
thought it looked
24,
like a
but sorry, it ended up on both.
This is all
agendas.
kind of running together a little bit to me. All right, on to committee reports finally, and thanks to all of you who have waited this long to get to this point. First off is Save Our Lakes, Ms. Vivian.
Good evening, y'all.
Good evening.
Vivian Cash James, President, Save Our Lakes Organization. I want to comment before I start on my stuff regarding the golf club. I don't know if it's a good idea or not financially, okay? But you haven't seen people using the golf course because there's been nobody here to enjoy the lakes. So tourism is going to change. People are going to be coming in. So you have an airport, you have a golf course, and you have lakes. How bad can it be? Okay? So I think, Mr. Lewandowski, your comment about Bradford County, I think is appropriate. I can see a combination, I'll call it a team effort, Bradford County, Keystone Heights, maybe Clay County, I don't know. I can see some sort of a joint effort where you do the homework to see kind of what could happen. I know the folks who are in there now, and they were not people who ran a golf course before. Okay, I was actually offered that golf course and thought about it very seriously. Not that I could afford it, but I was going to look for financing because I believe the community is going to rebound in a major way. You also have the big vacation mobile home park that's expanding. So I think it's almost a no-brainer. But again, it has to. The city shouldn't take the whole burden. So I'll shut up there. Anyway. So update on the fishing pier. Scott Slater, who is out vacationing now with his family, is in charge of this. But basically, Scott is working with the various people regarding the fishing pier, trying to get both labor and materials costs down at cost if we can get it. Shame them into it, whatever we can do. So he's working on that. We've got the design going, and that should be done sometime in mid to late December. We have started the process of seeking other grants. We've done some investigating. We've got probably about 5 or 6 other grants that we're going to be going after. Starting January 1st, we're going to be doing the process and making the applications. So probably February, I'll be able to really tell you more, or Scott will be able to tell you more about that. The Geneva project, we met with some of the city folks, Mr. Booth, and county manager, 3 or 4 other people with the county, land management folks out at the 5th Street boat ramp about a week ago. We have a plan to move forward. This is a 2-phase plan. The county is going to be applying for it's called the Geneva Restoration Project, and the middle word restoration is extremely important, okay? We're not just trying to get a few trees out. We're trying to get Geneva back to what it was. And so if anybody has any, Heritage Commission, if anybody has any pictures of Lake Geneva from certain areas or whatever that can show us Lake Geneva back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, before it started going down, that would help us. We actually need pictures. So if anybody can do that, holler at me, send me an email, give me a call, whatever. We can take copies, whatever we can do. So the county is going after the boat ramp and the area that is basically blocking off the western lobes, okay? They can do that because of a couple of state statutes that basically say they have the right to do that so that the citizenry can use the lake, open lake, so on and so forth. So that they're going after that. They're going after it the original, in the conversation at the boat ramp, there was conversation that, well, we can go after a path. And I said, no path, restore it to what it was. A path, if you've been to the Fifth Street boat ramp lately, a path, you would have a big mess on either side of the path. And it would not be what it was. And so restoration is the big word that if you're ever talking about this to anybody, that's what we're looking for, okay? Phase 2 is the citizenry, lakefront people on the lake, you have trees in front. So we are now working on getting all of those names, getting all of those addresses, and reaching out. Solo is going to basically have a Geneva meeting, not just a solo meeting, but a Geneva meeting to bring those people in to say, here's what you have to do. But we want to do this, I mean, each individual can do it, can apply for a DEP to get the trees and things removed out of their yard. They can do that, and then if they have trees in front, which is the sovereign submerged land, they can get a permit for that, or ask for it anyway. So what we want to do is bring all of those people as much as possible, anybody who wants to get trees out, bring them together and make that application at one time, hopefully in conjunction with the county, so that when the company is out to remove the trees and debris, then it's all at the same time, if at all possible. So that's what we're working on now, and it's kind of like herding cats. So we're working hard at that, and the city is being helpful in helping me kind of navigate that, because this is kind of new territory for me. So that's where it is, and we just got information from the water district about the steps to take, and so we're kind of starting that game right now. I am reaching out to a consultant. I just got a quote back Friday afternoon, and I had to sit down when I read it. But the folks that are in that firm are some very, very big, heavy hitters. I won't mention names right now, but very heavy hitters. And so if they could come forward and help us, then quite frankly, in my book, it would be worth the price. I haven't talked to my board yet, because I just got this Friday. I'm having a board meeting, solo board meeting, the week after Thanksgiving, that Friday. I'm having a solo board meeting to talk about the cost. So we're just we don't know what we're doing yet in that. But anyway, so that's it. If anybody has any questions.
So I recently went down to, right across from BP, the sign says the Lake Geneva Boat Ramp. Is that what you call the Fifth Street Boat Ramp?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Across from that.
Woodland Burger?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I just went down there, and I gotta say, it looks like that boat ramp hasn't been used for decades. And then I thought about it, it hasn't been used for decades.
You can't get out.
Right, it's a pond, you can.
Right, you can't get out to the main body.
No, you could row a boat down there, and
Right.
that'd be about it.
Right.
But there's potholes in the asphalt, there's signs that look like they've been there since the 1800s. It's awful.
Right.
It's just awful. Do you know if anybody is looking at fixing it? I mean, it's in county property. It's not anywhere near the city. You know if anyone's looking at updating that?
I'm trying to think of when this was. Sometime last year, I went with the county, again, kind of all of the people, all of them, okay, I'll just say all of them.
Right.
We went to both the Fifth Street boat ramp and the King Street boat ramp, which is for Brooklyn. And there was a lot of talk, a lot of discussions, all of it very positive about what, quote, they will be able to do. They were working on their parks plan. That, to my knowledge, has not been completed yet, but it's my understanding, and that's all I got right now, is an understanding is that those two boat ramps are included in doing something. I also would think, quite frankly, and I don't know this, but I would think that there may be some grant money out there, maybe some Chemours, maybe some Vulcan, that might also participate. I'm not sure of that until we try.
But even if it were to come in, the only people who could really do the work would be the county.
Yes, the county, yes, and so, it's in their parks and recreation,
Okay.
because both of them are county, none of them are city.
Right,
But the
okay,
city will benefit. so.
thank you.
Thanks, Vivian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next is Friends of Keystone, Centennial Update.
Okay.
Anybody have an update for that? I don't know if there's anybody here still.
No worries.
I don't think anybody's here for it, right?
I can speak on that.
Okay. I don't know much about it. so-
I didn't know this was on the agenda, and I'm not sure anyone on the Friends of Keystone knew that this was on the agenda.
Joe
Mr.
did.
Joe asked for a standing appointment every month.
Yes, Joe knew, but he has company, so he's not here.
Okay, well, I'll just give a brief update
Okay,
then.
thank you.
Our next big event, of course, is the Keystone Heights Gala. That's really a kickoff to the centennial. Back in 2024, when we had the Historic Inn, which is located across the street, that was when they kicked off the whole city, and it was on New Year's Eve. We originally attempted to do a New Year's Eve gala, but that proved, because it was in the middle of the week, to not really be, it didn't make sense for the community. So doing it on a Saturday was a much better time, and it's the week before. So it gives more people an opportunity to come to the gala. So the gala is a fundraiser, so that basically the other events then can be more affordable to the rest of the community. So we will be having a band, Duval County Line will be playing. We will have a taste of Keystone Heights, so we've invited all of the restaurants. So you're not getting one restaurant doing a buffet. It's going to be every restaurant in Keystone Heights is going to have their fare there, and so it'll be a buffet line. We will have a bar serving wine and beer. It'll be one ticket per person for a wine and beer. This will be located at the RV Resort, and everything will be decorated for Christmas. It's going to be great. We're also having Christine Arnold, our chairperson of Keystone Heights Heritage Commission, will be doing a talk about the history of Keystone, and then we'll have a real ongoing of what is all of the pictures of, historic Keystone. Mayor Rodenroth will be introducing everyone, and I believe Dave will be doing it. He'll be emceeing.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, ceremony, whatever, introducing folks or something like that.
Right. And so we are selling individual tickets for $75, and we're selling tables that businesses will be purchasing for $500. And we have a capacity, I believe, of 200 in the building. So we're off to a really great start with our sales. We'll be also having a silent auction. So there's a lot going on at the gala. So it should be a really fun time. Oh, there you go. Thank you for purchasing one of those. We will also have, it's a dress to impress. So whatever that means to you.
So how do I get my ticket?
You can purchase tickets here at City Hall. You can purchase tickets at Capital City Bank, or you can call me. I have tickets for sale.
Okay.
You know how to get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thanks, Deidre. Okay, next, planning and zoning. It's on my list.
Heritage,
Heritage Commission.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Heritage Commission. Sorry, I did go further. I didn't have my glasses on. You're right. Sorry, Christine.
Well, first off, I wanted to say something, a little bit of trivia about the golf course. Don't have an opinion. Most people don't understand why the golf course is still attached to the city, or historically. When the city was first incorporated, it encompassed all of the Lawrence Developing Company Corporation property. And it was reduced. In the early 30s, when Mayor Edwin Larson presided, there was, the city council was entertaining the thought of dissolving the city. Because we're unique. A lot of the cities in Keystone kind of went that way because you had money from outside of Florida. And here we had 22 voting residences that qualified. Most of the property belonged to people who lived outside of the city, outside the state. So as part of a cost-saving measure, the city limits were much reduced. And it was so that we didn't have to, for one thing, pursue the taxes on those. Mayor Larson did a wonderful job saving the city, but we were almost lost. But we sacrificed our city limits.
You know, I've lived here all my life, I've never heard that.
That's pretty wild.
That's pretty cool.
Well, she has lots of stories.
Oh, wow.
I've been going through the archives doing the preservation work there, and I have just under 1,000 of the city clerk correspondence documents archived so far. So I have everything, including the presentation that Mayor Larson did to the city to save the city.
Wow.
It was things like 50% of the street lights were taken out, the fire hydrants, they just went to extreme measures. But one thing we were fortunate, the city didn't have any debt. So anyway, that's the reason why we don't have the old Chautauqua grounds or anything like that. That's what we, anyway, so aside from that, since the last city council meeting, we've done Boo on the Boulevard, which went really well, except for I would request next year that we shut down the traffic on Palmetto because they come around and they fly down the street. You were standing there at the house, right?
Yeah.
And
So scary for the kids.
it is.
Yeah.
We had private donations for the candy. But it went really well, and we don't need to move out to the main drag because we couldn't take any more time with people, we were busy as it was. You were there.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the next event was the Ford County Historical Roundtable, which went really well, considering the first date was in September, and that was carefully considered where it didn't conflict with anybody else. And with the backup date, which we had to get to, Green Cove, Middleburg had its centennial celebration that weekend and all, but we still ended up having representatives from all four. It was really informative, and mostly I think that we really need to take a leadership role with all of these other little historical societies, and it's all a shared history too, Let's see, next thing, wreaths. Wreaths are almost all out. We ended up missing half of the hangers, so I had to order more. So anyway, if you guys know anybody who didn't get a wreath, then just let me know. I've got them all in my car. I sound like Santa Sleigh. And I think that's it. Tour. Oh, the tour. Didn't you already do that? Tour of homes. Tickets are available on the Women's Club website. They have a wonderful page for purchasing. You just go there and buy them. I think the ticket sales are going pretty well. And
That's December 14th?
no, 21st.
21st.
It's a Saturday.
14th parade. 11 until 3:30, I think, right?
The last one is at 3. That's to give them time and be back before dark. But we have the reception at the pavilion. And then I think they're just going to make a circuit. Any questions?
Y'all are looking for volunteers.
Okay.
Y'all are looking for volunteers, right?
Oh, volunteers in the homes?
Yeah, right.
I think the Women's Club is kind of coordinating the volunteers.
Okay.
Everyone individually is getting their friends and family because they're going to be in the personal space.
Yeah.
Speaking of the volunteers, that's another reason why we wanted to rearrange the hours. I got a lot of input through the Facebook page about
people wanting to be involved and to volunteer, but they work, you know, so we're excluding all the working people. And we've got Chautauqua next year, so we're gonna need a lot of people.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, next, planning and zoning.
Okay. So, you guys, council has graciously agreed to let us obtain the services of Ms. Janice Fleet. So the very next thing on the planning and zoning map is Ms. Fleet has already been in contact and working with Mr. Wiggins to work on the housing project, which is next to our local grocery store. However, we have also had interest in 215 North Lawrence, which is also known as the Christmas tree lot. That has been, we're going to have a pre-application conference with Margaret Smith from the Foresight Group, and I believe Ms. Janice Fleet is going to schedule that for next week or the next, depending on holidays and what their scheduling is. They're asking about environmental impacts, which really leads me to believe this is going to be a potential gas station, oil change facility, something like that. And that's why it was super important to me to have somebody with that knowledge to help me through these processes. And that's what we're looking at.
I think the only thing in that ground is a bunch of liquor. There used to be a Model A lounge.
Didn't that one burn? Yeah.
I used to work there years ago. Good place back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, we
Yes.
left the airport report.
No, I know, he's on my list.
Okay.
I haven't, I added it. I'm sorry.
We wanted to
David,
stay till 9 tonight.
sorry, Dave. I did add him to my list. It wasn't on the initial list.
That's quite all right. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Couple of things. I have a short list. First of all, I want to say I lived in the golf course for 22 years. I lived in Hidden Hills 4. My backyard, beyond my backyard, was the #1 green, the #2 tee box. And I've seen it go from really good to really bad. And no reflection on the present management, but with any golf course, if you have poor management, if you have poor maintenance, that's a challenge. A lot of people won't pay to play on those conditions. So I think that's a big factor that has hampered Keystone over the years. But anyways, so all about the golf course. And one other comment about response that someone had talked about as far as taking action and how slow government moves at times. We are very familiar with one large entity that I will not name, but typically their response time is 90 to 180 days. And so I know we all want things to move faster, and a lot of times though, because of just entities that we're involved with, that doesn't happen. So just food for thought as you talk about these projects. Sometimes we can't get them done as quickly or get responses as quickly. So on to my report, I only have 3 items. The airport, we'd like to thank the city for a donation that you made to the airport. There were 2 chairs and a credenza, small credenza that you donated, and they were put into service immediately.
Awesome.
Craig, our airport manager, greatly appreciates the credenza. The second item I have is our new second access road into the airport, our west side area. That fence and gate project, the bid opening took place on Thursday, November the 21st. So of those bids, Mr. Prang, our engineer with AECom, will take those bids, go through, check everything, and then in our December board meeting, he'll recommend a responsible bidder that qualified for that project. So that's moving along quickly. Once that is done, then Bradford County will be installing a culvert and connecting that new access road to Highway 100. There are some restrictions. Florida DOT has said that it could only be used as a emergency entrance exit, and that only until we receive the slowdown lanes and turn lanes that we have asked for appropriations last year, did not get. Once we would get those installed, then they would open it up for the general public, then it could be used in that fashion. The last time I have is, we do have a project. It's a new 6,400 square foot bulk hangar project. Bill Prang, our engineer, is finishing up the design work on that. And basically, with the funding that we have, trying to get the most that we can, the biggest bang for the buck out of that funding for the hangar that we're looking at adding.
Is this for commercial?
No, sir, it will be a bulk hangar for anybody that wants to rent it. Not necessarily a commercial entity, is that what you mean?
Right, well, I mean, it's not a T hangar, so we're not talking about your normal private pilot general aviation. You're talking about a large hangar.
Yes, it could be used for one individual. It could be used for multiple aircraft as a bulk storage with multiple aircraft. We've done that in the past, and a lot of pilots will agree to that, but when you're moving airplanes around, it's always the guy that's in the very back of the hangar that wants to go fly his airplane. And of course, everything else has to be moved out, so it's always a challenge.
Will there be any office space in the hangar?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you waiting. Okay, we have the folks from Sheriff's Office. Did you guys have any comments you wanted to make tonight?
They just get 30 minutes. I'm Mike Conrad, I'm the assistant chief of the North End. I'm coming for Chad Rick, Lieutenant Rude. He's the watch commander tonight. If you guys have any questions for us, we're here. I think it's been a long meeting and looks like that's for our bedtime.
Yes.
Thank you.
For being here.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for taking such good care of us. We appreciate it. Council comments? Anybody?
The Veterans Day at the Pavilion was great. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City of Keystone Heights, for all the stuff you put together. 'Cause I got a couple guys that came with me, really enjoyed it. So.
Great. Well, thanks for bringing them.
That's all.
Tony? No comments? Dan?
So I want to contribute to the rumor mill.
Please do.
I have heard.
Pregnant.
No, I'm not pregnant. I have heard that on the corner of 21 and Gas Line, there's going to be a new Wawa coming in.
I've also heard this rumor.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if anybody has heard that.
But that's what we're about.
Okay, and then I also heard that somewhere a new Zaxby's is going
You
to.
are correct.
That is
However,
correct.
it's in Clay County limits, so I've got very, very limited information, although I know they're about 70% out of 100% there.
It's on the other side of Renee's place,
Yes,
Rustic
ma'am.
Gypsy.
The Rustic Gypsy?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
It's
a
on the
little
other
house
side.
that
It's on the
looks like
north
a-
side of
yeah.
it.
I knew the guy that lived in the house, grew up in that house.
Okay.
Is that where the roundabout's going?
No, don't do that.
But that is true, there is a Zaxby's, however, it's Clay County, not within our city.
Okay. Okay.
I like the water.
I'd like to start by, we haven't been able to publicly thank our city staff, everybody involved for an amazing Boo in the Boulevard. Unbelievable turnout, probably over 1,000 people. Sheriff's Office did an amazing job containing the crowd, keeping everybody happy. I mean, I couldn't believe just the hordes of people walking around, and the kids just had a blast. So it was such a, I mean, it ranks right up there with July 4th and Christmas. So I think it's going to become an event that we're going to become known for. And these are some of the things that get out there out around us in the other cities and states, that they go, oh, you know what? They do this really fun thing down in Keystone Heights. So these are just little things I think that we become known for. Excuse me. Also, thanks for staff also, especially Drew, for all of the effort and help in trying to coordinate the Veterans Breakfast. This was something I wanted to do last year as part of my role with the State of League of Mayors. It was a request from them, from the board, to support something like this for our communities. So I was able to put something together where we shared their benefits for them that are provided specifically by the state of Florida under the direction of Governor DeSantis. So what we have here in Florida, they don't necessarily have in Georgia. A little different. He adds some additional things, resources for them here. We had a guest speaker. She is from Here Tomorrow. I met her actually at one of the meetings. She shared information about mental health, specifically amongst our veterans, which is an ongoing epidemic as we speak. Very important subject matter that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Also, we had the regional manager for the Veterans Affairs here to be a guest speaker as well. I think we had close to 60 people total in attendance, and we had Johnny's provide the breakfast for us. But one of the things that I know that Charlie is looking into is having Mr. Carey be here on a regular basis and have our veterans come and visit with them on all kinds of things. Like they once came up to me and said, I didn't know about that. And so they were really thankful that we shared some of those resources with them, and the fact that they got to meet him. He used to work inside, so he knows a lot about the innards of how it works. So definitely an amazing event. I hope to do it again next year, and we may continue to add different subject matter to the program. Also, we conducted some really critical workshops with our planning, our strategic planning, and also our parks plan. The strategic planning especially, I'm hoping that we can get citizens to start becoming involved in these. But as we part off the different categories of the strategic planning, we're definitely going to have town halls so the public has input before we make any kind of decisions on moving forward with any of those concepts or ideas. But there have been really great workshops. I think we've all shared a lot of really good information, and I look forward to the rest of them coming forward. I'm sure we'll be, as you heard, I mean, we had a lot in the last couple of months. We're probably going to have a workshop every month next year, at least one a month. I did attend the reality check. Actually, my husband and I did the cars, some of them cars, of course, vehicles. And with General Eifert was one of our team leaders there. But that event is just a really amazing event. And from our comments on Facebook, everybody that's asked, I've had people say, I need to know who to talk to because we want to do that in our community. We want to take this other cities, other states, and because they think it's such a great idea. So I like being, our city being recognized for things that other people are not even thinking about doing. So I, just want to share that with you all. And let's see, moving along here, Ms. Silva, any comments?
I don't always have something to share, but I do have something this week or this month. First of all, to the community and everybody in this room, happy early Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a wonderful time with your family, friends, and whoever you choose to celebrate with. And then I'm grateful this year. My nephew, Ryan Arndt, is graduating tomorrow. He is the newest Marine in my family. I am super proud of him.
Cool.
And I'm very sad I didn't get to go watch him graduate. But when he watches this, and he will, I'm super proud of you, Ryan, and I cannot wait to watch you graduate tomorrow. So thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
Charlie.
So, I got a call from Representative Sapp's office late last week. I sent you guys an email. He's requesting projects that we would be entertaining as a city. He's brand new coming into office. They just did the orientation for the new members last week. And so as it goes up there, at least my understanding, I've never been a legislator at the state level, they kind of give them some boundaries and some things that will be looked upon favorably as far as appropriations requests. Those have to do this year with infrastructure projects. So I think water, sewer, sidewalks, street repaving, whatever all, I can't remember what I put in the email. Depending on how quickly they need a response, I might get with the mayor and ask to have a short special meeting preceding the December 9th workshop, or I might, if he says we don't need it till January, we can do it on January 6th. But they're wanting to get good visibility on that fairly quickly, and he'll be under the stewardship of the rest of the delegation that Rich works with every day. So
Yeah, because session's later this year, the deadline's not that quick.
yeah.
Okay.
So
That's great.
that's good news. You don't always get calls from your state representative saying, "What do you need money for?"
Yeah.
Here's what we'll likely approve. But here's,
Yeah.
so we'll see. That's a big spaghetti junction process of government too.
Okay. Rich, you have any comments?
Just happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year's. since we
I
don't have
know.
another meeting
Oh,
until-
can we believe it?
Two up on you there.
That's all.
Can
I agree.
Can I ask a
Gonna
question?
see you at the gala?
Hey,
I hope so. Yeah, Tony, you had something to say?
Your calendar if that works. We're having a Christmas party.
You gonna get there?
5:30 in the pavilion. The water bay's gonna cater.
it's nice. Doesn't have any meeting.
I have a question, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When we hired you, one of the stipulations was this, and I don't know what the name of it is, but it's to do with, city manager educational stuff. And it's almost been a year, and I'm curious to know where you're at with it.
So I joined ICMA and FCCMA. ICMA is the only ones that credential city or county managers. They've kind of, I filled out everything they asked for, took a survey. Those are probably the only expenditures on my city credit card are for going to the one conference I went to in May and joining those organizations. They sent me an email to my email address saying, "Dear Mrs. So-and-so, congratulations, you're now a certified city manager." So I picked up the phone, I called the lady, and she says, "Oh, they sent that one too quickly. You have to be in your position 1 year," but based on, she was reading all the credentials that I gave, my resume, etc. She said, it looks like whatever their military liaison or whatever grabbed my stuff and said, certify it 1 year. So I'm expecting on January 11th, when I've had this job for 1 year, then it kicks back to their board, another long process of 1, 2, 3 months. But I'm expecting that I won't have to do anything to be credentialed, and then I will have to do like 40 hours of continuing education per year. But that's where all that sits, and they're not quick with it. But I think after we cross that 1 year mark, then I think it'll start falling into place.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Good. All right. Looks like we're adjourned. I wish everyone wonderful holidays. We'll see you guys in January, I guess.